Cornelius Vanderbilt became the richest man in America, and in this video, we'll delve into his highly questionable business practices. In 1805, at the age of 11, Cornelius left school to work on his father's ferry in New York Harbor. After learning the trade, Cornelius wanted to start his own business and needed a boat. His mother, a farmer with little money, agreed to lend her son $100 she had saved in exchange for him clearing a rocky field so she could plant crops. He managed to convince other kids to help with the task by promising them free rides on his new boat. And at 16, Cornelius Vanderbilt began transporting cargo and passengers between Staten Island and Manhattan. He offered the cheapest fares on the market, putting pressure on his competitors. He quickly earned a reputation for reliable and affordable ferry services. After repaying his mother's loan, he reinvested all his profits back into the business, and it wasn't long before he had a full fleet of ships running various routes, earning him the nickname the Commodore. By 1830, he took his business to the next level with steamships, which were more efficient for his work. Using the same tactic of offering the lowest prices, he stole customers from his competitors, even offering some boat trips for free. He didn't care about the initial losses. He had more money than his rivals to sustain a low-price market, pushing many of them to bankruptcy. At best, he offered a small sum for their business and raised prices to more sustainable levels. Other transport operators realized they couldn't compete with the Commodore's prices, like the Steamboat Association, which preferred to pay him $100,000 to stop running his ships on the Hudson River. With each maneuver, his fleet grew larger, and so did his power and wealth. It's often said that during the California Gold Rush, the richest people weren't those searching for gold, but those selling the tools. Well, after gold was discovered in California, hundreds of thousands of people traveled there, hoping to strike it rich. The largest mass migration in US history needed someone to transport all those people, and since the area wasn't connected to the rest of the country by railroad, Cornelius began offering boat trips to California. Though he wasn't the only one, he found a route through Nicaragua that was 600 miles shorter than the route through Panama that everyone else used. He struck an exclusive deal with the Nicaraguan government, and his trips were faster and cheaper than those of his competitors. But in 1853, Cornelius did something he'd never done before. He decided to take a vacation, buying a giant yacht to tour Europe with his family. He left the management of his business in Nicaragua to two men named Morgan and Garrison, who were partners in the business but ended up betraying him by making a deal with Nicaragua's new president, William Walker, who had taken over the country by force. Cornelius's exclusive rights to operate throughout the country were granted only to Morgan and Garrison. When Cornelius found out, he sent them a very short letter.
Gentlemen, you have undertaken to cheat me. I won't sue you, for the law is too slow. I'll ruin you.
Yours truly, Cornelius Vanderbilt. And that's exactly what he did. He set up another transit company, offering ridiculously low prices to steal customers, and refused to transport passengers to or from Nicaragua to create a blockade of the country. He lobbied neighboring countries not to recognize the new government and helped start a war to overthrow the president in Nicaragua. As he stated in his letter, he completely ruined those who had crossed him. Vanderbilt saw that the United States was changing, and in an incredible decision, he sold his entire fleet of ships to invest in railroads. There were many independent routes, but Cornelius began connecting railroads between different regions and built a massive railroad empire. He reinvested most of the profits to buy even more railroads, expanding faster, and even absorbing companies along the way by purchasing his competitors' stocks on the stock market. He died in 1877 at the age of 82, with a fortune of around $100 million, which would be about $200 billion today. It's estimated he held about 1/9 of the money circulating in the US at the time. His life was relatively modest. He constantly reinvested almost all his income and time into his business. About 90% of his fortune went to his eldest and favorite son, Billy, and the rest was divided among his many other children, most of whom he considered weak and unworthy. Cornelius Vanderbilt was clearly a polarizing figure. Even his enemies would have to admit that he greatly improved and expanded transportation, and in the process helped connect different parts of the country, allowing much easier transportation of people and goods at affordable prices. In his later years, Cornelius began directing some of his enormous wealth towards philanthropy and educational and cultural activities, from which the United States still benefits today. In many ways, he shaped the American economy more than any other businessman before him. And it's quite remarkable that he turned that initial $100 loan from his mother into a fortune that very few people in history could match. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe and keep learning about business with the video. We leave you here. Bye-bye.